Good morning, everyone, again. Welcome to today's webinar. We're going to talk about a guide to expanding your business internationally with PayPal. Hello, Tahir, are you there?
Hi, I'm here. How are you doing?
I'm fine, and you? It's nice to meet you.
I took the liberty to present the deck, if that's okay.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. Yes.
All right, can you see it?
Yes, I think you can just make that full screen. Yes, perfect.
So thank you, everyone, for joining the session with Flutterwave today. So what I want to take you over quickly is the really next way of catalyst in terms of e-commerce growth that we would be seeing in the upcoming years. Actually, we've been kind of experiencing it, but there's been a lot of fast forwarding happen due to COVID. And as you would pretty much know, there's been a lot of catalysts, right? The mobile expansions, tokenizations, and so on. But we feel that for the Middle East and Africa, there is a huge untapped opportunity in terms of growing your business online. And why should you grow your business in international markets? And I think one word, if you ever going to take away from the session, is it should be your total addressable market. And total addressable market, what I mean by that is, what is it, the market, that the consumer market that you're kind of targeting, and what's the total size that you're trying to kind of get a pie from, right? And if that is only from the Middle East and Africa, ballpark figure, depending on the business line that you're in, you're looking at about $100 billion in terms of addressable market if you have a solution, a product, a service that you could sell to all of the countries, markets within the Middle East and Africa, or the African continent. But if you were to start selling to, say, as simple as a UK corridor, right? A corridor in the UK, you pretty much doubled your total addressable market, and you don't have to win in that market. You just have to kind of start tapping into it and leveraging the field. And as your total addressable market grows, because you're selling towards more and more corridors, obviously depending on logistics and language, your business will start to double because you're doubling your total addressable market as well. And with that, I just want to basically kind of go over where PayPal can come in to help you out, because in some of these corridors that you might potentially expand, likely are PayPal's what we call core markets, and these are North America's, Australia, Western Europe, and of some sort. So these figures are from our last year. So I'll give you a little bit about who PayPal is by sharing some of the insights from our performances. So when you think about PayPal, we have above 400 million active customers across 202 countries. And about 32 million, and these figures are end of second half of 2021. We basically partnered with 32 million active sellers on the platform who are basically using PayPal to accept payments online. And pretty much, the PayPal's business been around for so many years, for over 2 decades now. We have optimized, and we had the time on our side to work with our bank partners, acquiring partners, issuers, to come up with this figure that you see in the middle, 88.7 checkout conversion rate. So if you compare this with any competitor, any payment methods that is out there, it's quite impressive, because it's give or take double in the nearest competitor. And this is not brain surgery. This is not magic. It's just that we just had so much time. Payments is our core business. We're not a cell phone manufacturer or a search engine. We pretty much do payments in, payments out, day in, day out. So that's why we optimized our conversion rates to a level of 88.7%. And we do quite a bit of, the different things, and kind of help you out to basically expand cross-border. And why should you? So one thing is, we basically know cross-border business at PayPal quite well. So we do $200 billion plus in terms of cross-border volume. So that's quite unparalleled in the payment space, where the math shows if you start to sell in international markets, the consumers there tend to spend 2x, twice as more than if they were to buy something in the domestic market. And there are various reasons for it, right? Because you're going to be shopping from maybe a website that's going to, fulfill that order in a week or two, and you might not frequently shop from that website, so you tend to buy more in that same order and get that shipped as a larger package. So rather than buying from a domestic merchant on a frequent basis, you tend to spend more when you buy something from a cross-border website. And when you look at what the consumers are looking for, from a couple of surveys that we have conducted with the customers. So when you buy something cross-border, customers want a secure payment method, right? Because they're going to be parting away with their money with a merchant that they don't even know. And they want to make sure that they're protected if something goes wrong. So is that transaction purchase protected? And obviously there is that payment being processed quickly and smoothly is obviously, if you are a digital native in a US market, you would want that to be processed, quite smoothly. Obviously, it always helps if there is an intermediary like PayPal or likes of PayPal who kind of facilitates that payment. So a brand that the customer is familiar with. And if I'm not sharing any of my sensitive details, so these are on the right hand side that are quite important things to consider when you want to expand cross-border and what the consumers are looking for. And if you look into, maybe going back to that total addressable market as we were opening up the session, how would the opportunity to sell cross-border look like today versus, as a catalyst versus another catalyst? So if you compare the global e-commerce market growth, cross-border spending today is growing twice as faster than the global e-commerce growth. So if you, again, go back to what that catalyst is today, this is the math, this is the insight that clearly says this is the catalyst for the next 3 to 5 years. And that used to be a mobile, right? So you had to have a mobile-ready channel where you interact with your customers, a mobile optimized website, or even an app that you would introduce. But today, that's pretty much given, right? So it's no news. It's nothing new that you will be hearing, oh, mobile is important. The next thing that you should be focusing on, it's basically cross-border spending, which is growing again faster than the overall digital economy. And when you go back to what the PayPal kind of has to offer, there are basically 5 pillars to this, right? So we covered the global reach at PayPal with the number of customers that we have. And then we also covered the higher conversion. So I won't go into the details here, but the higher conversion is at 88.7%, something that our merchants and PayPal us enjoy. And then we are pretty much leader in all of these segments across the cross-border commerce when it comes to, say, mobile commerce, where more than half of our business is now conducted on mobile devices. Invoicing, when you want to accept an invoice payment from a cross-border merchant or even a freelancer. Social commerce, and these are all things that we've been spearheading the industry. And there's a lot of new things that we are introducing. So if you're selling to a consumer in UK, well, we could actually offer that UK customer to pay with installments, to split that purchase into 4 installments. They could pay with their crypto assets, with selective crypto assets that they're holding in their PayPal wallet now in the US or in the UK. And there is an easy, simplified business model that we kind of have optimized over 2 decades. And that what that means is, if you want to integrate with PayPal, obviously Flutterwave have done a tremendous job into integrating with the platform. But also, we've done tremendous work in terms of making sure we provide seller protection, and that does not come easy. So we don't, even though we don't do 3D secure in the transactions and many transactions that we process, but we still offer a seller protection in case there is a chargeback or a dispute against you. And so those are things that I think are very valuable to give you the peace of mind to start selling in a market that you might not have market insights before. And there are sometimes a misconception into who PayPal is, right? The capabilities that we went over are actually as a result of multiple platforms that we offer and multiple solutions we offer to our both our consumer side of the network and the merchant side of the network. And for that is some of the things that you'll recognize. The PayPal logo, the blue logo is our wallet that's available, the integration that we have done with Flutterwave. So you just opening your shop, your store to 400 million buyers worldwide. But then we also offer PayPal credits in some selective markets in the US, and which we will be expanding into the international markets. We have a wallet called Venmo, which is growing 60-70% year over year. It became a verb, just like Google it, Venmo me in the US. And Honey is our marketing tool to drive you some lead generations and loyalty with your consumer base. On the merchant side, we as a company, other than just we are known for our wallet, we also process actually card payments in our core markets, which I'm not going to get into. It Flutterwave already does a tremendous job, good job in that in the continent. But we also can surface a lot of localized payment methods in the same integration. So that kind of saves you, as Bukola was mentioning, it kind of saves you a lot of effort, right? Introducing these new payment methods in some European markets like Ideal or so forth and so on. And then we have our risk management tools that are built into the platform so that you could manage your risk and disputes. And if something goes wrong, we always have the seller protection policy you could fall back into. So when you look at PayPal, I think that the slide pretty much says, don't think about it as just payments, but overall experience of the consumer is in the top of mind when it comes to PayPal, and how you grow in terms of, again, generating new incremental sales versus or introducing some alternative payment methods or like credit tools like buy now, pay later. So looking at how we kind of consider merchants who are going to sell or who are selling with PayPal. So we onboard our own merchants, we acquire our own merchants, and what that means is, we basically look into the solvency, the financial health of our merchants once you pass a certain threshold. So that means that we need to look at maybe financials if you're a large enterprise. That's not a prerequisite right up front, but eventually that's something that we would ask from our partners. The business model, obviously, as with all payment processors, is something we look at if it's acceptable. What do you sell, right? In terms of that ties into the product that you sell. If it's against the PayPal acceptable user policy, I mean, tobacco, it's not allowed, for example. Obviously, adult content in our part of the world, gambling in our part of the world is not allowed. So we have to be cognizant of the local regulations, and we always are. And then the shipping, the fulfillment timelines are quite important, because just like how we have a protection to our sellers in case there is a dispute or a chargeback, we have the same value that we offer to our consumers. If the seller does not basically do what they promised at the checkout, or the fulfillment of the good or the product fulfillment is not done, we kind of protect the customer and refund that money. And finally, there is a risk metrics that we kind of track ourselves against, so that we could continue to provide the buyer and seller protection on both sides of the network. And what that means is we basically want to ensure our chargebacks stay below 1%, and refunds are below 10%, and claims are below 5%. So these metrics are quite above our regular average, but at least this is a threshold that we have in our agreements, online agreements, where we actually kind of want to stay within these ranges. And you look into some merchants global merchants and regional merchants who are already kind of accepting payments with PayPal, and you could see some success stories in terms of selling into international markets. I mean, we work with pretty much most of the Internet Retail 100 globally, and global merchants on the left-hand side, as you'll see. But also there are a lot of, tons of large enterprises in the region. So a couple of names that you might recognize are Jumia is an existing partner. Right now we're live in one market in Nigeria, which we're looking to expand into 4 additional markets. And then another, maybe brand that you'll recognize here is eShop, Africa eShop, which is a huge, a merchant for us, which is also expanding and enabling basically sellers in Africa to target European and American, North American consumer base. And then you have the travel merchants and so on. But this slide basically shows this is a trend. This is not unique for larger digital economies where these merchant sellers are now targeting international audiences. But in our region, there are tons of large enterprises, merchants who are starting to think and enjoying some of the benefits of reaching and selling to international markets. And so, obviously, as you are very well aware, with all of this said, we have formed a partnership with Flutterwave, and we want to, rather than saying all of these, whys and why you should sell and what you should do to kind of capture the next wave of growth, we also want to incentivize this. We kind of realize that sometimes it needs a little bit of a push for people to see the value, right? And for that, we have launched a campaign with Flutterwave till the end of third quarter. So till the end of September, a campaign will be running for all our merchants in selective African markets that you'll see here across Kenya, South Africa, Egypt, Morocco, Mauritius, Malawi, Mozambique, and Senegal, who has a PayPal account in good standing and have received an invitation email from Flutterwave, will be eligible to take part in this campaign. And this campaign would allow you to process PayPal payments, cross-border PayPal payments, and you would be not be charged for any fee to process these payments up to $500. So if you consider what that would mean in terms of volumes, that's anywhere between free processing for $10,000 to $15,000 of sales. So I don't know in what local currency that would translate into, but we want to basically show you the business that you're leaving on the table, the 15 to 20, $10,000 to $15,000 worth of business that you're leaving on the table today, and hopefully you'll continue to sell once you kind of get the hang of it and see the value. There's no risk, obviously, and there's no costs at this point in time. Hopefully you'll succeed and grow in the US and core markets. This again maybe worth to call out to echo these the campaign. This $500 free processing are only for your cross-border. So if you accepting payments within Egypt, for example, or within Mauritius, for example, that would not be considered, and that would be only considered for transactions outside of your own market. There are no fixed fees or taxes that will be covered. So if there are any other additional charges that come to it that's not PayPal related, obviously that's not in the scope of this campaign. This is only within the PayPal platform. And if there is any refunds or canceled transactions, that those are also will not be covered. So if there is any costs in relation to disputes, chargebacks, refunds, these are very small fees, but we wouldn't be covered those. But pretty much we basically giving you the option to go with a peace of mind, knowing you're covered with seller protection and knowing it's going to be free. Sell $10,000 to $15,000 worth of goods and services and see the value. And we're here to help. So that's about it, really. And I will like to welcome any questions that if you have.
Thank you so much, Tahir. I think we can go to Q&A now. I would just read out the questions. Okay, someone said, what happens when my business processes less than $500 for the rebate offer?
That will be fine because it's pro quota basis. So that means that if you were to sell, only $5,000, you still will not be paying anything, obviously, if that results in a $250 processing fee. The idea, the hope, the plan actually is you actually sell $50,000 worth of goods, $100,000 worth of goods, right? And out of which, if you were to pay, if $1,000 in processing fee, you'll only end up paying $500. If that's not the fact, if you're slowly starting, at least you'll know up until September, the end of September, this will be free. So sooner you kind of start selling, the better it is, I would say.
Thank you, Tahir. Can you please elaborate on when businesses will receive the $500 after transactions?
So that will be after once the campaign will be done, right? Because we have to kind of see exactly what the volumes is, because you might end up selling, as the previous question was, only $5,000 versus someone might be selling $20,000, right? So we'll just have to see how many actually merchant sellers on Flutterwave have taken advantage of the campaign, A. And once the September end happens, what that would be calculated in terms of processing fees, whatever that number is, that will be refunded in October. I'm with PayPal work in Nigeria, so from a consumer side, we already have a consumer business in Nigeria. But on the merchant sides, unfortunately, we've been trying for the last couple of rounds of enabling more services. And what I mean by that is services for our sellers. I mean, what I could say is PayPal, we want to bring the service to anywhere and everywhere as fast as we possibly can. But there are priorities, and COVID-19 have kind of shuffled those priorities, as you could imagine. But in due time, we'll be in Nigeria. I could assure you it's top of mind for myself, for the channel partner team at PayPal Middle East and Africa. And if you ask me what's the most important thing for me, well, this is on the very top of that list. But can I commit to anything? Unfortunately, today I have to give you a vague, political answer. I don't timeline. I'll be always honest, but just so you know, we're not going to give up. We're not going to stop asking for it. Eventually, we'll get there, but just bear with us, and let this team kind of keep pushing and pushing, and until we get there.
All right. I don't think there's any more questions, so I will just go over a few things. So yes, I forgot to mention, this webinar is being recorded, so we can always go back to it, and it will be shared to all attendees this week. So you either get it in your mailbox, or if you don't receive that, if you didn't receive that, or it gets lost in your inbox, you can always go to our YouTube channel, The Flutterwave, and then you find that there. And if you're trying to reach out to us on anything regarding the rebate offer with the $500 with PayPal, you can send us an email at hi@flutterwavego.com, or our Instagram and Twitter handles are The Flutterwave. So you can just reach out to us from there. And on Twitter, you can reach us at FLW support. And then we're happy to take your questions on everything about you funding your business internationally with PayPal.